Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Solvitur podcast. Today we're joined by Ewan Moran, the CEO and founder of a new startup called Barback. Ewan, I'll give the floor to you just to tell us a bit about yourself and also Barback.
Yeah, so I'm Ewan. I'm the founder and CEO of Barback. We've been on a roller coaster and a half. I started it. I was at university, and I was quite heavily Asperger's, and so I thought working in a cocktail bar, you kind of learn how to talk to people and have that kind of conversation. And it went really well. Kind of fell in love with the industry. Then after 3 months of working at Turtle Bay, I was like the only bartender left. Everyone else walked out. And that was a bit of an issue. So then you're passing out on shift, you're throwing up on shift, you're being overworked. So then you leave, and then the company has no bartenders at all, and they're losing a lot of revenue. And it was like, we could take 4.5K each on a Friday or Saturday. There's only 6 of us doing that, and now you've got no one doing that. So the venue's actually losing a lot of money here. You're losing a lot of money, and your mental health and your physical health as well. And the customer's losing out because they're waiting an hour 20 for their beer or for their munchies, and no one's winning. And so Barback really, it's not about the money of anything. It's about just being able to kind of gamize a platform which can help employers retain their revenue and get good talent, the workers find a place that works best for them, and customers to be able to, also enjoy having, functional teams almost. And we do say things, well, that's not a perfect industry. We'll say, well, for example, in your CV that we create for you, it will show you what you're good at and what you're bad at. And people's eyes prick up when they say what you're bad at. I'm like, well, look, I'm good at making cocktails, good at talking and hosting. But when it comes to making coffee, I turn into a burns victim. And you need to know that about me as well as what I'm good at too. So we know kind of where to put me and where to work. And even then, you're always going to get shit from your manager for doing something. Like, that's going to happen in whatever job you have. But if you're a 6'2", rugby player at a sports bar, you'll happily take more shit than if he was working at, say, a boutique kind of like wine bar kind of thing, because you're going to be more happy where you are. And it's just like, okay, he's giving me shit, but I've got my customers here, they're all fans, the TV's on there, I'm pouring pints. You're going to take that a bit more pinch of salt than if he's working somewhere you don't like. So yeah, we're Web3. We're creating a labor infrastructure platform. So it's more like freelancing. When I call up saying, hey, I've poured too much vodka in my cornflakes, so I can't commit to shift today, well, you've got someone to stop that. And then we build their CVs based on that. So employee reviews, cost reviews, team reviews. We build like a meta CV. So you're not a full-time job, but we kind of have verified, credible CVs for you, which helps the employer find the right talent for them, but it also helps the workers. It starts the wage debate. Because if I can say Solace has a bar and I want to join there, and I say, well, look, I've got 80 customers saying my level of service is really high, I make them feel special, and I've got employers saying I upsell, then I could probably ask for £1 or £2 an hour more than if I didn't have that on my CV, because then I'm not interested, I'm not verified, kind of thing. So we stop the wage debate and help people find the best job for them. Then we have like loads of employer contracts, issue discounts and benefits and everything. Where we get a little bit sexy, where Web3 came in, and we talk about confidence. And the couple of ago, we're joining the degenerates in blockchain was it just felt right, and it felt like we're making a statement here. But the more people work or hire, the more governance and option tokens they get. So governance, they can vote on like polls, policies, proposals. Even our co-presidents will be elected by the venues and by the workers. So a bartender could stand for election, be elected by his peers, and then they are our president. And so for customer research, that's great. It means that we're constantly down to the industry, doing what the industry tell us to do, rather than trying to market and persuade them to buy our stuff. So we're listening to what they have to say. And it starts democratizing labor. And the option tokens give you a right to buy shares in the company. So once our smart contract's completed, so 10 years time, million paying users, they stake their tokens, pay for the shares, we exit, and then the whole industry owns the platform, i.e. you've created an industry DAO. Right. And so we're providing a blueprint for the democratization and decentralization of any sector, any industry in any country through labor. And labor is kind of our gold standard, not to get too Karl Marx here, but putting the workers at the top of everything that's governed on the platform. That there's something special behind it. Send labor as a gold standard is it's a fun thing to do.
So it sounds like it's even though the idea itself, I can understand the idea, it sounds like a very complicated business venture. And for someone like you working at a bar, what kind of headspace were you in to kind of get the confidence to suddenly go, you know what, I'm doing it?
I mean, when it comes to, there's a lot of areas where it comes from, and I think when it comes to giving somebody advice on, you know, how to get confidence to do something, I can't just say go and watch a bit of Jordan Peterson or go and watch a Joe Rogan show. It does help, but I mean, for us, you know, there's a lot of money to be made, which is great. But also we're repairing an industry, and we're repairing. I'll go to London, and you feel like a little bit of a politician. You go in there, talk to the VCs, trying to, you know, we're raising 2 million at thermal pre-money. We're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing the other, and it feels great. But then you come back to Exeter, and you find out that one of your friends in hospitality passed away in March because he killed himself, and it's like, shit, this is a real fucking mission. And so you have the whole, okay, you're somewhere new, make a name for yourself. Then you've also got the fact that people really are still hurting, and that people do need something like this. And it's like, that gets you out of bed. This is like the icing on the cake that makes you feel good in your day job, 9 to 5. This is what drives you, no matter whether you're ill, whether you're sick. And even when I talk to Alex, I go, oh, I'm a bit ill. And it's like, well, you know, take it a little bit easy. I'm like, no, we don't have time to take it easy. Yeah. And so you have to draw on as many places as you can to fuel you. We are humans. We do require a bit of fuel beyond just food. Right? We need something to go to bed to drive us. And part of it was, you know, being personally affected by something. Part of it was seeing your friends being affected, even your family, you know, having concern for you, for your welfare because of how you're being treated in the industry. And part of it was the aspiration of what, you know, we can make. When you make a company, you start impacting people's lives, and you start making a bit of a change. And so you get to take part in that, and that's like a really cool thing to do. So yeah, there's lots of different areas, and there's like dozens more. But I think when it comes to taking that next step, as we kind of mentioned beforehand, you know, some people at uni have great ideas, and then they join the PwC factory, and it's like, but you had a great idea, you know, you could have done something.
Why
and the longer you
so
stay,
many people don't sort of follow up on those great ideas?
because they think it's bullshit.
Okay.
Like they think their idea is bullshit. They think it's a good idea. They thought about it when they've had a beer or two, and they've spoken about it for a few weeks, and they may have looked online about, you know, what to do a little bit. But at the end of the day, they do have this mentality, this belief, the majority do, that it just doesn't happen. It's just not a thing. Like it only happens, you know, one person in a million. It's, you know, it's beyond their reach kind of thing. And actually, yeah, that's actually exactly what it is. A lot of them, when I'll say, hey, we're raising, and I'll come back to Exeter, and I have some friends that will be like, hey, you know, how's it going? Like you're crazy for doing this. How's it going? But it's not that crazy. Like you can do this very easily. There are funds out there where, you know, you can get this 100K if you ask like that. The terms aren't great, but you can get 100K in your bank if you make a nice PowerPoint. And that is genuinely how funding in startups works. If you make a nice PowerPoint, you can get 100K. Like, it's literally that simple. Obviously the idea has to be good, but I've heard some of these good ideas, but then just go and work because it would never work out, or, you know, you're dreaming. No, you could do this. And I think for a lot of them, there's no real user case that they have that 1 degree connection to, which can like tell them, like, you can actually make this. It just comes down to literally confidence.
Did you ever get rejected from a VC?
We got rejected by like over 200 investors.
Right, and what did that do for your, like, because you got to be pretty confident to hear 200 times no.
Awesome.
And then you wake up in the morning and go, yes. So is that where your passion comes in? Is that what's driving your confidence? Because you're not waking up in the morning to make money. You're waking up in the morning because of your passion.
To deliver change, to deliver a solution, to help. And this is where part of it comes in when you see people who've got like a great idea, like wealth centralization tools. You know, you can see all your bank accounts and investments in different countries. I'm like, okay, but how does this help people? And they're like, oh, people in Africa, for example, like they'd be able to start opening their Bitcoin wallets and connect it to us. They can see everything there and trade. I'm like, there you go. Yeah. Now you can start actually delivering on a social mission here. You've got a social mission, then you have a risk out of bed, whether or not you're making money or losing it. And that's what I tried telling people. Add some corporate social responsibility into the mix. Add like an actual human mission in there, and you won't put your tools down anymore because there's people riding on this.
Yeah, I think as well, it's because you've got that why. You know, you've got that why are you doing it?
Yes.
Yeah, and I know for those listening, I'm regurgitating the same stuff you see on TikTok when you're scrolling on the loo. But it is important, that why question. And as well, something else I picked up, and especially with the venture capitalists and going to them, is you don't get the part if you don't audition. Quite simply, if you don't say you're going to do it. Now, guess what? It won't happen.
You don't ask, you don't get, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we've, like I say, we've had well over 200 rejections. We were pitching to the wrong people. I mean, it got to, I mean, so we're subscription based. So venues and workers pay to be a part of our platform, pay like a monthly fee. And the Web2 kind of vanilla VCs, so why are you charging one price? You know, they should pay more with they're doing more freelancing, more permanent hires, more contracts. I'm like, that's not Barback. We are subscription based. You're part of our platform. You know, use what you need, and you're part of the community. I then go to, I was at Bitcoin Pizza Day in Hyde Park. That was a hoot. They had no glasses for the bottles of Prosecco, so we literally just all had like a bottle of Prosecco each, just as you do. That went south. And I mentioned it to these guys, so we charged one subscription. We've had a bit of pushback on this. Like literally one of them said, no, you have to charge one price. You can't start charging more based on how much they use. They're part of the community. I'm like, exactly. So the penny dropped with the right community, but the others didn't see it. It's like people could get disheartened because they're being rejected, but you're being rejected by the wrong people.
How does that like kind of translate into your personal life? Because like obviously having confidence is not just for your career, right? This idea in you must have come from somewhere. I mean, there must have been a point where they're like, no. I have got stuff.
It was a shower, thought in the shower moment, like when it was like Barback, the name kind of works. But it was just being pissed off with what's going on. It was being personally affected by it. Where it translates into like career or personal lives, I think very much you have to have circles that do reflect almost like your true self almost. I know like a lot of people, we were talking about this a week ago about how like grime and rap became so mainstream. And it was like, the thing is, when you go into like a class in high school, everyone liked the same music because you had to like the same music to be cool, to be popular. And this is where it's basic tribalism. You know, Kevin Spacey in House of Cards said, everything in life is about sex apart from sex. And it was like, if you're more popular, then you're more attractive as a mate. And therefore, so you have to conform to this in order to be more popular, in order to be a more viable mate. And it all just comes down to core biology. But at some point, you have to physically like repel yourself from that and then find your own community that you actually get on with on a much more, you know, on a mental level, at an emotional level, and at a soul level. And yeah, it's something that's lost in our generation. I think people do just conform to whatever's hot, whatever's new, whatever is like popular. I think at some point we have to go, okay, no, these are my values. This is what I stand for. This is what I like, and find people who are likewise, who are similar.
Yeah, I know.
Go for it.
Sorry, go. Yeah, you first, mate.
I was just going to say, would you say that sort of starting Barback was your way of finding your own values and your community? You know, you had an idea, you were trying to solve a problem based off of your experience. Is this where you thought, no, you know what, I'm not going to fit in. I'm going to try and sort something out that needs to be sorted? This
is kind of it. It's but I said, I've probably even told Alex a couple of times, like, you know, making my own company, especially Barback, one of that is full of character and modes. We've even got some Fallout New Vegas references in our company, because why not? Be you. But it's very much like, so you got like a blackboard almost with like a cloth over it, and learning about the company and building it was like you're literally peeling back the cloth behind the blackboard and you're starting to see what it actually is. And it was like we were literally doing personal exploration while also exploring the company. And yeah, I think it's why I kind of understand this in a different ways, because we attached ourselves to the company that much. And you kind of got to understand that actually you can be the black sheep in the herd. You know, you can do whatever you want. And now we sit down with a company called Unigigster. It's like micro tasks for like students. And I was like, okay, well, you know, how do you make money? And so they take commission on labor. And I said, unfortunately, unless you change your revenue stream, I'm not doing business, because we do not take commission on labor. They've got VCs that were going to have investors for us and everything. I said, we're not working together if you do this. We do not stand for that. And we don't talk anymore. They just kind of cut the cord. I was like, but that's fine. You can lose friends, you can make other friends, but people respect you, as we found, respect you more for having that value, that moral, than just, you know, abandoning that just to get potentially like another 10K angel check kind of thing. Yeah.
Where do you draw the line between principle and what's good for the business? Or would you say they're both the same?
There's no like straight line. I mean, if somebody offered Barback, you know, 10 million for a third of the company, and it was somebody like what's the guy who owns Spoons, Tim Martin. Sure. It's like, you know what, it's 10 million. Let's see. But I mean, that's kind of like a joke, but also there are founders who say, I would not take money from somebody. And I'm like, yeah, but if they added a zero and they offered you something, would you take it? And everyone have their price. But I think it's down to what you do in your personal life in a way. So like, for example, if someone like Tim Martin came in, he wants to be a bit more corporate. Well, okay, but I could take that money, take up my side of the revenue, my half of the money, and create a charity or an NGO or like another subsidiary, which he's not part of. You know, you could still, what can I do from here onwards kind of thing. I think some people associate that if they did take that money, they'd have to abandon their morals rather than just rechange their focus almost. The thing here is it's all qualitative. You can't quantify this this is like human emotion, human like understanding kind of thing, and you can't quantify that. So there's no like line in the sand kind of thing, because it depends on who it is, what have they done, what have you done kind of thing, and it's you can't metric it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think the idea behind this wasn't to say here's a blueprint on how to get up on stage or how you can apply for a job and just be totally confident, because obviously everyone's drawing off something different, right?
Yeah.
Drawing off your passion. Some people draw off spite, some people draw off they want to be better, whatever it may be. But I think you're right, everyone is different. But speaking a bit more generally about our generation as a whole, do you think we've become less courageous?
Yep. Oh yeah, like I mean yeah. We technically could be the most courageous we wanted to be. I do think a lot of people do fall in line. I think my industry, hospitality, people do shit on them because you're not being paid a lot, or you're working shit hours kind of thing. Like, yeah, but every year these motherfuckers go on holiday for 3 months to Vietnam or fucking Thailand or Indonesia, and they just go exploring and backpacking, like no fucks given. Yeah. Like that is, they just off their own back, alone or with one other person or a few other people. They just go off the grid for 3 months. Like that's pretty courageous, and that's them actually living. And I do find somebody who goes, I'm not going to work at PwC, I'm going to go be a bar supervisor for a few years, work my way up to being a GM, but I'm going to take 3 months off a year to go backpacking. I'm going to have a relatively easy life. Maybe there's more courage in that than saying I'm going to go work at PwC, work 90 hours of my life and hate my life for the next 5 to 10 years just to start making it on the corporate ladder. Maybe they have more courage than the latter.
I think that's interesting as well, because like I see these stories all the time of like you get a big CEO or maybe even a big actor or whatever, and you look back in their they might say in an interview, in one of their early interviews, like, oh, where do you get your confidence or your stage presence and all this? And you'd always think, oh yeah, I got it from Juilliard when I was studying. And no. They say, oh, I was working at a bar for 3 years. I deal with a lot of stuff going on at one time, or a customer might be angry, or I was a waiter somewhere and I'd have to talk a lot to that's where the confidence came from. It was not actually training, it was more the experience.
The life experience, massively so.
Yeah.
Sort of just the more you get out in life, the more almost naturally you'll build your confidence just through either chatting to different people or just conversing with different environments.
And that's why I think it works well in bar work, is because you're living vicariously through your customers, and they start getting regulars as well, and then you start almost like living vicariously through them, and you start getting all these insights into different people's lives from all different kind of walks of life. Almost it's a melting pot of like community and culture. Almost like you have to learn from so many different people what they're doing, how they've done it, where they've come from, and it's like it's hard to turn your mind off of that. And some do, which is when they come into hospitality, going, it's a bit of extra money on the side when at university. And so they kind of turn their brain off to this. But those who work full time, like they do kind of get their eyes opened up to this kind of stuff. And they're the ones who then do go for 3 months over in Nam or Indonesia or somewhere like that. They're the ones who end up being an assistant manager on 30K plus tips, maybe like 50 odd, but they have a good life. That's what it could be. And that's the thing when it comes to our meta CVs, right? Like it really was a bit of a statement. Like Barback is a statement from, I guess, me and the industry. And it's like with our meta CVs, you could literally build your career to then get whatever you want to get in terms of like a role. And I've always said, I think I've told you in a bar in monkey suit probably, which is right here for later. I mean, whenever I get off the train, I go to monkey suit, I sit down, have my welcome pint, talk to them for half an hour, we talk shop, and then I go on my daily business. But I had to run here for this. So the Guinness, I can actually smell the Guinness over there. It's right over the street. But yeah, I've always said to Alex, if I wasn't creating Barback, genuinely, I would develop my career to the point where I could move to Hawaii and be a bar manager. Because that'd be a pretty cool life. Like you'd have a very nice life living in Hawaii as a bar manager,
Yeah.
And it's like, why not? And I just want to open that kind of thing. I want it to be like an industry where actually you can really be whoever you want to be. I don't want cocktail competitions and all our events and stuff like that in there, and it would be a hoot because. Okay, here's the thing. So you've got two. What's got ADHD, so my brain does wander quite a bit. I was working at Turtle Bay, where I began my hospitality career, and then ended it at Las Iguanas, opposite streets in Exeter. Right. The three co-founders were making Las Iguanas. One left and made Turtle Bay. So it's literally a tale of three brothers almost making their businesses. Turtle Bay, shit wages. Christoph's gin, Glenn's vodka, and absolute bullshit. Fucking like materials. I've seen their fridge. You do not want to eat at Turtle Bay. Like, I'm just saying this. Las Iguanas, on the other hand, you join there, and every month, all bartenders were required to make a cocktail, to invent one, and that would get submitted to the general manager. They'd pick like 3 or 4, send it off to corporate, and they'd pick all of them out of the country, and the top 4 got put onto a hot list, and that work then got like $500,000 in remuneration. If that sold so well, it says on the actual menu. That motherfucker gets sent off to like Sweden with absolute vodka for 2 weeks, bought and paid for, full expense trip, like full expenses paid. You go 2,000 euros on a credit card. Here, go in a distillery, try some stuff at bars, and there's 2K to live on for the next 2 weeks. Thank you for making a good cocktail. But you can then put that on your CV, and you can then like use that to go somewhere. You start entering cocktail competitions like Bacardi. Pink Moon did it with Bacardi, as Iguanas did it with Absolute, and they actually had progression. You could be a bartender, actually be featured, actually invent an actual cocktail, but the next martini kind of thing. Like there was something that you could do, which was really cool. But Turtle Bay, it was sit down, shut up, keep working, and that was the difference, And
you
took a lot from Las Iguanas.
I think that free kind of attitude. I mean, I do it with most of the projects that I get involved in. I definitely want everyone to just throw stuff at the wall, and then we'll have a. You know what I mean? It's not like, I'm going to restrict you so much that this is your job and that's the only thing you've got to do. No, because that discourages as well.
Exactly.
If you're in a place where they're going to make you stay on your lane the whole time, then you're just slowly going to become uninspired individual.
It's a salami effect as well. Like it cuts you off and cuts you off and cuts you off until like you're like an empty vessel of the ship that you once were almost, right? I saw the difference at Turtle Bay. There were people who were getting high before coming into shift just to cope. Like even at Turtle, this is how bad it got. Like we'd go upstairs to the stable right above because we weren't allowed to eat at Turtle Bay. You'd get your lunch. We had 20 minutes to eat it, so you had to literally wolf it down, get a stitch and a stomachache on shift, and you couldn't function, man. Like, and you were doing like 14-hour shifts back to back for like 20 days. It wasn't that great, but there were some venues in Turtle Bay that were really good, but this one wasn't. And change of management every couple of months. It was a hellhole. And they rectified that situation by bringing in our area manager. Feels like Damon or something like that. And it was at 8 a.m. in the morning. We were called in, the whole team at 8 a.m. on a fucking Sunday for a team building exercise at 8 a.m. in the morning on a fucking Sunday after the Saturday shift and everything like that, right? And he goes, I know I used to be a police officer. I know some of you like me. I know some of you don't. I'm the one who fell asleep in that lecture. And you got like a police member saying, well, how could we be better as a team? What do we have to do and stuff? And then we had to go back to work. And it was like, we had to wake up early, get our access into shift to then work a 12-hour shift. I'm like, this is not how you run a team. This is not going to bring out the best in people. This is just going to make people leave, which we all left. And then manager goes, well, manager's got to change then because they've got to conform to our values. And I'm like, this is corporatism gone wrong.
If you were to disagree with the manager, how would you sort of raise your disagreements or your opinions? Would you feel confident enough to do that, or would you need to sort of plan it all out before then approaching them? How to do it?
Even I found it hard to do so, and you know me, I say what I think, and even I struggled to say what I thought. Yeah. Apart from on my last day there, which was this one guy, Freddie, assistant manager, he got demoted to bar manager. He's been there for like half a decade, if not more. So yeah, life's going well for him. And there's this one guy, Kieran, who's cross-training to be, he's in a master's degree. He was a great guy, cross-trained to be waiter and bartender, because guess what? We had no bartenders. And so he's like just doing some like getting through like all the glasses and stuff like that, just washing it. And Freddie goes, "You and deep clean the glass washer." I was like, "Yeah, we'll do once he's doing, I'm scrubbing the beer lines, I'm doing my own thing, but I'll get to it, don't worry." I mean, Ewan wasn't done yet. He's still using it. So, well, yeah, well, tell him to stop doing it. I'm like, but he's doing his job. I'm doing mine. It hasn't got to be done just yet. We can do it in a minute. It's a Sunday. No one's doing anything here. And then he came third to us like, "Ewan, like, get this done. If not, you're going to get a warning." I went, "Fuck you." I went, "What did you say?" I said, "Fuck you." He said, "Okay, you've got a written warning. Say it one more time and you're fired." So at least you've got my pen and my survey. When to may concern, I basically don't give a toss. There you go. There's no need for that kind of behavior. There's no need for him to do that. We're both doing our own jobs. It's like you're actually creating more issues because you want me to stop doing what you're doing. I'm going to stop what I'm doing, do this, do that. And it's not going to work. And yeah, it was like management there just almost hated you for being you. I don't know. It was really weird. I couldn't get my head around the way they were treating us, and everyone left.
It's weird.
But I say,
it's weird like that because you've got obviously different levels of management within wherever you work. And I used to work for a hotel, and I had someone that would manage me personally. So I was about 6. They were about 21. But four more years of experience under their belt, whatever. And I was standing at the front. We were about to have, there was a massive wedding going on, and the bride was there. It was the day before. They all wanted to be escorted around the premises. The bride was there. The whole family was there. Everyone was there. And they'd been waiting there for 20 minutes. And we were waiting for my manager's manager, the big dog, to come down and take the bride and everyone around through the dining room. We all knew the route. We all knew where they were going. And I said to my manager, I said, "You should take them around now because they've been waiting here for 20 minutes. And I don't know much. Okay, I'm just 16, but I can look at someone and see when they've got somewhere to go and they're impatient. And these guys have got it all over their faces." But he said, no. So he went to the toilet, and I just made a split-second decision with my other coworker. I said, "Let's just start taking them around." So we started taking them around. And then my manager came up to me, and he was furious, and he literally told me to go home on the spot. And I went to the locker room, and I was packing up all my stuff. And then his manager came in and said to me, "I heard what you did. Thank you very much. That was really, really, really helpful." And I went out there, and he told my manager to go home. So sometimes you don't always know whether you're going to be making the right decision. But what I got from your story is like, if you've got a principle, which is I've got a job to do, and if someone else is not going to do it, I'm going to do it for them. And you're not going back on your principles, and that's something that requires a lot of confidence.
This was kind of it. I mean, also that reminds me of episode 1 in Star Wars. There's always a bigger fish.
Yeah,
like that's he ate you, but then this like I just like ate the other one. This was a difference. And then at Pink Moon, which was also a hoot, I applied to be a bar manager, and got in. This Kingsley worked at like a Michelin star venue in Birmingham. He had his way of doing things, right? And there's like, you're young, you've learned some stuff wrong, but I'm going to break you down and rebuild you like Lego bricks into like the perfect bar manager. And it was like, we had this team on my first shift. We were in the nightclub part, so the downstairs part. And I left my Boston, my cocktail shaker in the sink. And this one like bartender, so I'm the bar manager, they're a bartender. And they were like, "Oh, you got to do a shot for that." Like, what? They said, when they do something in the sink, you got to do a shot of tequila. And I was like, "Is that why we're 2 tequilas down per week every week?" And I was like, "Yeah." I'm like, don't say this to me, like this is not going to happen. Like, do not tell me this in future. Like, please, if you do this in future, do not tell me about this, because I could go and start taking a Sunday. I guess that was like leakage or whatever. But if I know why, I'm going to have to tell them why. So I don't want to know about this. But they were quite young, and they were all at extra college or whatever. Really fun people. But they'd had a lot of shit because there's no manager. They also had issues and stuff. And I was like, okay, we're at 10 o'clock shots. There'll be a thing. If you earn like 3K a night, you're going to get 20 quid's worth of drinks. You earn like 1.5K, you'll get like 2 cocktails. You earn a K, you get a shot. But everyone at least gets 1 shot before they leave. And so then there's working towards a bit of alcohol before going to vaults afterwards, going out to the club. We had stuff like that. And we had stuff like, we put like these cheap like corkies like shots, and we'd be like, okay, if whoever wants to take them around to get their 5-minute break, but you're going to be dancing around with these shots and getting everyone involved, do a bit of a boogie. And these guys loved that. And at 11 o'clock before last orders on like a Thursday, we jump up on the table, do a little dance, and then jump back down as last orders, and everyone comes rushing in, like making stuff fun that everyone really enjoyed.
Do you think you're and the confidence of them, do you think that translates to other people as well? Maybe if you've got
I think
that's not as, and you then do something to show them, yeah, you can get up, you can do this. Do you think
I think if you lead them like that, like I hate, but like even my executive assistant calls me boss, and I'm like, I'm not a fucking boss. No, I don't like that word. If not, you're a leader, or you just you're a colleague. You know, you're in the trenches with them. I think if you do that, and if you show them, like, look, have a bit of fun, lighten up, like, come on, let's get the energetic side of you out, kind of thing, then they will follow, and they will be led almost, right? But as opposed to just being bossed and told what to do and what not to do. You've got to start like leading out. So as a leader,
as opposed to sort of being above, you need to be alongside to show, I'm doing this with you guys. Join me, and sort of inspiring them, I guess.
Literally, that was the difference, and that was my first time really managing. I mean, I told him I was a manager before, which I kind of was, but I was managing myself. So I hadn't really been a manager, but I mean, I managed to get through the door. And it's my first time actually being able to have my own like power or like remit to be able to create something, and that was what we created, and it worked really well. And then, but even got to the point where, like, I mean, there were a couple of issues along the way, but he was like, "But I never did something wrong." But okay, Ewan, how did that night go? And I'd be like, "Yeah, you know what, I did this wrong." Okay, why do you think that? And like, I actually had the confidence to say to him where I screwed up and know that I wasn't going to get fired, but I had to own up to it. It's like, I'm glad that you went up to this. Like, it's not going to happen in future. But he wanted me to say it first, kind of thing. Yeah. And like, he had the confidence that the way he was teaching me that I was going to do that too. And it was all based on principle and moral and having that understanding between each other. And that's lost in corporate venues, I think, a lot more, and corporate in general. I mean, But then when it came to my dismissal there, so the ops manager, Kingsley, he had to leave to go on holiday for 2 weeks. He had this law firm paying for like a university mixer. And we're downstairs doing like cocktail sessions. And she stole like the wrong, so the marketing manager, her brother owns the venue. And so her job is to take a few pictures a day, put it on Instagram, like very hard worker, like fuck you. And so basically she starts stealing equipment that I need for my cocktail because it's shaken. But you don't need a Boston to make a margarita, to make a mojito, right? But she takes it for any reason. I still take it from her. And then basically she screwed up with the law firm. They walked out early. She then pulled me into the office, and then the chef who sat there starts crying by saying, "I've never had to do this, but you're not the right fit. First, you have to be let go." So she had her, ego insulted because she screwed up on her stand with her customers, and then fired me because she got insulted. But even fired me personally, she got the chef to then fire me. So lack of confidence there because she screwed up and can't admit it. Has got the confidence to do that. Then got the chef to fire because she got the confidence to fire me. Yeah. So and then Kingsley came back and then he left.
If you were in her shoes and you were acting with confidence, what would have you done instead?
I've never actually thought of this, to be honest.
But you made the same mistake she's made as well, but you're in the situation where you can either get rid of the little man or you can own up to it.
I mean, you should own up to when you've done something wrong. Yeah, I mean, they could have done anything. I mean, you might think, oh, that customer's been lost and they're never coming back, therefore fire them. Well, okay, you've got their email, you've got their contact information. Hey, sorry about this. It was a bit short-staffed. Our GM was away or something like that. Do you want to come back for another night free of charge? We'd like to rectify this one. There's something you could have done to the customer. Something you could have done to, we were a bit short-staffed. Our GM was gone. She's basically, a glorified photo taker. So when it comes to managing a mix of like 40 people plus, like there's going to be a few teething issues. My first big cocktail session, I had to leave kind of thing. We drew the whole experience. We were not equipped to actually provide a law mixer. We actually were not equipped enough to do so. But instead, she just went, "Little guy, you're fired because I can, and the GM's not here." And she would have done that if the GM was there either.
Do you think it was almost out of nerves of what the GM might have said?
I think it was just out of spite.
Yeah.
That I told her that she was going to fuck this up. And she went, "I'm not going to fuck this up. I'm doing it my way." Then she fucked it up and was like, "Fuck you for saying I'm going to fuck it up. I'm going to fuck you now." I'm like,
Sure.
Just let's not fuck each other over all the time. Let's learn and let's build. And that's where Barback comes in. You know, we want to build, and that's it. It's like, I think that confidence thing does that. Yeah, maybe it does. Yeah, I'm just trying to think how it applies to what we do and what I do personally. I think actually you've kind of awakened me a little bit today. So, yeah.
Well, no, that's good, because I would say if there's not people in the room looking at you saying what you're doing is insane, then you're definitely not doing the right thing. Yeah, and that's just the way. I think you've also touched on something. You know, I know for myself, I need to improve on being confident enough to say when I don't know something, or when I have fucked it up. And I think, you know, I know Solis isn't perfect either, as much as he likes to think he is. So I think you've given us a lot to think about there. I had one more question for you. I'm going to let Solis ask another question if he has one before.
I do actually, yeah. So as far as it may be more than one question, but I wanted to talk about you networking with Barback. Yeah. So I know that takes a little
You've
while.
heard some stories here.
Well, obviously, speaking to someone that you haven't spoken to before, especially if you might want something from them or want to build a long-term relationship, that needs a lot of guts. You know, so I'm sure you've built more confidence over time and found ways good in order to do it. But just give us a bit of an idea, really, about how you would network with someone.
Get a beer beforehand. That always I mean, you genuinely need to get a beer down you beforehand. It's been psychologically proven that 1 to 2 beers does increase creativity, and conversation is kind of like an art form. So I'm kind of, you know, I can rationalize anything, as you know, and I can rationalize you have to have a drink before you network. It really does bring the barriers down, and I mean, for one, that's true. But over time, I mean, I've kind of refined it a bit more. I mean, about a month ago, we pivoted. We were raising $250,000 at like a 2 mil valuation. Now we're raising 2 mil at 13 mil pre-money. And it's like you either you know what you're doing, or you're crazy, or both. And I put us in the both bracket. But yeah, it's just kind of down to, you've got a story to tell, and you know, try and write down your story in a way that's authentic, but that is exciting, or that is interesting. Because then all of a sudden you've got a story that you know people are going to like to hear. Rather than, and it's the difference between Web2 and Web3 companies that I found quite a bit when it comes to networking. Web2, they just talk about, you know, their traction, their growth, their investors, their this, and everyone's talking, but no one's listening. Whereas we went to the Web3 people and we networked with those, and we've got like a little community almost, like everyone's there for each other kind of thing. Everyone's got like a story they've come from somewhere, and they've incorporated that so heavily into what they do that like they're like one and the same entity almost. And just like we had a guy at DLT Lounge who he's done his time in prison for doing like graffiti on like trains and everything like that. And they tagged like one of the hardest trains that could be tagged with it because it was security. Like I think it was like Edgware, like Euston or somewhere like that. And they're openly saying we've done our time in prison, and you know we used to graffiti like loads of different trains. One of their best friends, he died, and so they created like an NFT collection in his name based on the graffiti they did on the trains, and it was like, fuck, that's interesting for sure. But it's not like, you know, clean cut, it's not vanilla, but like you've still got an interesting story. And they go up on stage and they have the confidence to tell everyone how they've done their 2 years in prison because of like, fuck, like, okay. So even if it isn't the next Jeff Bezos or the next, you know, huge big tech company, or you know, if it's not like, you know, being a pro athlete or something, if you've got an interesting thing that happened to you, make it into a story and people will want to hear it. And when you've got that, and you know that people are going to like drop their jaws or at least take interest in it, like you then kind of have no issue going up to people because you know they're going to have a hoot with you. You know they're going to ask you for a beer. You know that they're going to want to go get the drink with you. You know that they're going to have questions. And when that happens, you know you're safe.
Yeah. Just going back to your point on the beer thing, I don't agree with you, but I've actually seen evidence of it working. I know a couple of people. I've been in a room with a lot of people that, you know, could basically shit on us professionally and were big deals. You know, and I'd be up there trying my best to make small talk sober, and you know, a couple of my friends would maybe be in the corner just like white knuckling it, going, I don't know what to do. And then I'd turn around and suddenly one of them who was white knuckling it before was walking around with a beer, you know, talking to them all like it's some placebo. He'd only had 2 sips, and I was just thinking, what? So
it really is.
Yeah, I just couldn't believe it. I think it's more finding something that puts you at ease or puts you on a level in a room where you don't feel like you're the small fish, where you feel like you can actually approach people and have a conversation. So I thought that was a really interesting point.
Yeah, I mean, it does actually boost creativity, and you got Dutch courage and everything like that. And also, I mean, especially in the Western Hemisphere, anyway, where alcohol is like it's been grandfathered in, it's so heavily consumed. If you go to the Arab nations, like Dubai, for example, I've heard, I've not been there just yet. We should be going in summer. But their networking events, it's food. There's a crap ton of food. And so you're talking about the food, and that starts a whole conversation. Obviously, in the UK, we substitute food for liquid donuts. So you have to converse around that kind of thing. But it's the same kind of premise. It's just in the Western Hemisphere, we use alcohol. In like the Eastern Hemisphere, it's more around food. So yeah, and it would change over there. You'd grab some food. So they've got a baklava as well. Like, oh, hey, what do you think of these? My name's Ewan. What do you do? And it'd be that. But but I do think overall, like 1 or 2 beers, there's definitely it helps you. Yeah, helps you chat a bit easier.
Nigel Farage was saying that on Stephen Bartlett's podcast. It was Matt Hancock, and apparently there's a story where he went to Nigel Farage. He was about to go on the talk show just before Nigel Farage, and he said, "How do you go on there and just be so loose?" Because I think if you've seen Matt Hancock speak, he can be a bit, a bit just not as confident as one should be for a politician. Nigel Farage,
he had a few skeletons in his closet, right? Like, and he knew he was getting close to, being caught out on, that. Yeah, I mean, you got.
Farage goes, "Well, I have a couple of beers down the pub before I get it." That's what he said.
And
that's why he was able to communicate so smoothly. But yeah, it was interesting.
It's even at Monkey Suit when me and Solas, like whenever we get a bit of Monkey Suit, when it comes to like ADHD or whatever, like it's honestly a blessing and a curse. Like you can't turn it off, and that is one big issue that I have.
Yeah.
And after a couple of beers, then when he goes, "So what's going on with you?" we then just start chatting shit. But I find it almost impossible to not talk about business until I've had 2 beers in me. And it's actually, it works even there.
As opposed to just alcohol. So, for example, if you didn't drink, I think the key message here would just be about breaking down barriers in order to build your confidence. So if you were in a setting where you did want to network with someone and you either did want something from them, as opposed to going over and not really having much idea, it's just icebreaker, I guess, almost. Just trying to speak to them as a person and getting them on that same level. We're almost going full circle about when the boss was trying to inspire, as opposed to looking up to them. It's almost just speaking to them as a person on the same level.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, I had one more question before we finish up, which was just, do you care more what people think of you or what they don't think of you?
What do you mean by what they don't think of you?
So I've been talking about this idea for a while. It's like, some people are confident because they don't care what people think of them.
Yeah.
And some people get a bit nervous what people think. But other people like me, sometimes I get a bit nervous if people don't associate me with certain things. And that can increase my confidence. So do you care more about what people think of you or about what people don't think of you in that circumstance?
I think part of the reason why I don't care what people think, in large part, is because they might think, "Oh well, you're crazy," or "It's not going to work," or whatever. And in my head, every time is, "You will get it." Like maybe not yet, but give it a few months or a year, and you'll get it. Then you'll see what I've been talking about. And I know that they will actually understand, and they will get me, and they will, they'll think differently of me soon. They see it work in practice, but they need to see it to believe it, kind of thing. So that's part of it. So if you are working towards a mission, people go, "Oh yeah, you're this, you're that, you're the other." Just keep it, put it away somewhere, and 2 years time, you shouldn't, how what you were talking about was actually true. Don't let that dishearten you. Like literally, just to be like, you will see it. Like just give me some time, give me time to go and work, and then you'll see it. Well, they don't think of me. Yeah, I mean, there's a company called Startup Funding Club, and was it Student Circle? One of the VCs that went by like students, and they rejected us, and they actually made a point of saying, "You're not qualified to lead this. You're not the right team." And I was like, Okay, you can mention anything else, like rip me apart before you care for, rip the industry apart, rip anything apart, rip my team apart. That's a big no-no. Because we've kind of curated this team. We're small at the moment. We've got a few hires coming. Because you don't know the first thing about Abby, for example. He's basically made our entire marketing scheme. Like I've thought of like about a third of it already, but then she's like said the same third without me telling her what I thought of. And I'm like, so on the same kind of like wavelength. They're like just randomly, every few days we go, okay, we need some maple arms. We're going to sell to staff members who leave late at night, kind of thing. We'll get some at a discount, put it into venues, kind of thing. When it comes to like feminine hygiene products, we're like, okay, we've got some companies here we can partner with to give them at like a cheaper cost to venues, so we can help feminine hygiene in bars and restaurants. Like, this is cool. That's cool. This is cool. She's just constantly giving these ideas. Constantly, how could we be the Barback of customers, the Barback of employees? And I'm like, fuck me, you are fucking amazing, And they would know the first thing about that. And our graphic designer, look at the beer that he's just put out for us. Like, these people are very fucking good at what they do. But this VC didn't take the time to actually ask, what have they done? And so, yeah, when they think, what are you not? The only thing I hate is when people don't think we're right for the mission that we are, equipped enough. It was like, as Musk said on the 60 Minutes interview a while ago, they said, but Tesla's tiny compared to Ford. Ford is huge, loads of money, loads of team members. Why are you, little Tesla, going to be able to do anything? But I think the question is, does Ford have a small group of people who are highly motivated and who want to get something done? And I was like, mic drop, that was it. So, we actually want to cause some change. We actually want to do something. Max wants to get his branding and his graphics out. He wants to attach it to cool stuff. Abby wants to be able to facilitate that in a good way. And I was going to repair the industry. And there's a few others, who are also on our team. And it's like, this is all you need to make it work.
I'm going to kick myself if I don't ask this. I know I said last question, but your ADHD, is that diagnosed?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
My autism is already diagnosed, but I'm going through diagnosis for ADHD.
And how? So sorry, you say you have autism as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how has that affected your confidence in any way throughout your life?
I think the stubbornness from autism with with ADHD, you can put dots together really well. It just helps. Like, I don't know what it is. It's a superpower, but also you can't turn it off. Like, when you want to go to bed, good luck. You can't do that. When you want to talk about football or rugby or whatever, good luck. You can't do that. So it's not a blessing, but it is a superpower. And I think it does provide you the sense of stubbornness. I've just going, we don't see it, but I can keep on going. I can keep on going and keep on going without actually contemplating the risk almost, which is really weird. I know some people are very risk averse because they sense the risk. And with me, I'm like, yeah, but we'll get it done. Don't worry about it. Like, we have to get it done. Like, fuck risk. Like, we have to do this. And maybe that is actually a drawback as well as a power. But I think it just gives you that.
I think it's a power, 100%, because especially doing what you're doing. I know loads of people that want to be entrepreneurs. Like, very risk averse. They're not going to be on. So I think it is a superpower. And yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Very much, Ewan. It's been an absolutely amazing conversation we've had with you. I think both Sols and I have learned a lot, and I'm hoping that most of our listeners are going to definitely take something from this. I will put your link to your link to Barback in the description. I'll also put our links to our socials in the description, and I want to thank everyone who is undoubtedly listening, and wish you all a great day. Thank you very much.
If anyone here wants to be an entrepreneur, like, send me an email, and I'll have a little chat.
Are you all right if we put your email on some of the social media stuff?
Yeah, honestly, for sure. Like, if anyone has an idea, they want to be an entrepreneur, want to say fuck you to PwC's grad factory or something, like, please, I am here.
Can I do one quick bonus question? It'll be a very, very quick question, and I want you just to give this one sentence. All right?
Oh, go on.
What would you say, one sentence, to somebody that wants to be an entrepreneur?
Wants to be an entrepreneur. Winning the lottery does help. Don't win the lottery. That would definitely be a good starter. I'd say fuck it. Like literally just say fuck it. and do it. Like we have Google on our phone, you know, like we can look for whatever we need to do, whatever we want. Like, you know, I would literally just say you have to completely 100% say fuck with every muscle in your body. Go fuck it. I'm addicted to programming. I'm doing my own thing. Yeah. And once you embrace that, then things start. But when you want something, you can try hard and you kind of can achieve it if you try hard enough. If you will something, like that's when weird things start happening to you. When you will it.
I think it's a good way to end.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. Thank you very much, Ewan, and thanks, Solas, as well.
It was a pleasure.